So moving to your back, Shavasana. Take the arms out to the sides, palms open. Close the eyes. The jaw soften. Take a few moments to bring your attention to this space. So the first thing you might notice are the legs. The legs tend to naturally fall out into external rotation. Leave them there for now. Just notice your natural tendency. And bring your attention to your lower back. Is there a pocket of space under your lower back? And then feel your upper back, your thoracic spine. You may feel that anchored and rooted to the mat. And then hopefully you have at least some pocket of space under your neck, your cervical spine, another lordotic curve. And then take a nice full inhale through the nose. Open the mouth and let it out. Again, in through the nose. Open the mouth and let it out. In through the nose. Hold. Back out the nose. In through the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Exhale out the nose. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 4. Let your breath start to take on that natural pattern of the inhale and the exhale being the same length. And as you're taking this breath now, just start to internally rotate the legs so that your legs become more neutral. And press through your heels. Really try to spin the inner thighs down. And feel, you might even brush the buttocks flesh down towards the heels, lifting the pubic bone towards the navel. And then send the arms overhead. You can blink the eyes open. Interlace the hands, turn the palms open. Give yourself a nice good stretch. Keep your Tadasana legs. And with your Tadasana legs, really press the instep, your big toe mound, your inner ankle forward as you pull your pinky toe and the outer edge of your foot back. And then bend your knees, pull your knees into your chest, give yourself a nice hug. Curl your forehead up to meet your knees, and then lower your head down to the floor. Grab a block or fold up your blanket between your thighs, tabletop pose, and you're just going to take that block between the thighs to encourage neutral legs. And then take your arms out to the sides to a T, start to rock your knees gently side to side, and then eventually drop your knees all the way down to the left. Just take a few moments here, revolve your left ribs out from underneath you, right ribs relax. Couple breaths, simple twist. Hug your thighs to the prop. Bring yourself through center and the knees over to the right. Revolve the right ribs out from underneath you. Let the left shoulder relax. Couple breaths here. Slowly come back to center. Remove the block. Hold the right knee to the chest. Lower the left leg down to the floor. So keep your left leg in that Supta Tadasana. So pressing through the heel, activating, pulling the toes back, and spinning the left inner thigh down. And you're going to take your right hand and slide your hands down to the middle of the right shin. So you're in Ekapada Apanasana. Flex through both feet and start to resist the right shin up into your hands. Soften the jaw and the face. And as you're resisting the right shin up into the hands, let the left leg float up just a half an inch. Pubic bone to navel, and feel the low back gently anchor down. Take an inhale. Exhale, curl the forehead up to meet the knee. Breathe. You're welcome to stay holding the knee or reach your hands forward. But our main goal is to continue to internally rotate the left thigh so that you're nice and neutral in that straight leg. If you haven't already, hold back onto the shin, lower the head, lower the heel. And then we're just going to interlace our hands underneath the right knee and drive your right heel forward just to get the hamstrings to warm. Now they're probably already a little sore from yesterday's practice, but let's see if we can continue to drive the heel forward. Couple of breaths. And then pull the right knee back into your chest. If you have your strap, slide the strap over your right foot. Supta Padangusthasana. Some of you might toe lock, but even right now it's nice to not go as deep as maybe you can. Give yourself a little bit of time to improve. And so really engage the adductors, the inner thighs towards one another, like you're holding that block. Try to move the right buttock bone, the right sit bone forward towards the left foot. So it's almost like you're trying to take the right femur and press it to the back of the hip socket. Couple breaths here, just getting into the hamstrings. And then pull both knees into your chest, give yourself a hug, Apanasana, you can move the strap away. Hold on to the left leg as you lower the right leg down, Ekapada Apanasana on the left. Find Tadasana in the right leg, so spin the right inner thigh down, press through the right heel. Interlace your hands in the middle of the left shin, flex through your foot. Start to resist your left shin up into your hands. Soften the jaw, soften the face. Let the right leg float up about an inch. Pubic bone to navel, feel the low back anchor. Inhale. Exhale, curl forehead to knee, breathe. Spiral that inner thigh down on the right side. Maybe release the hands, it's up to you. If you haven't already, hold on to the left shin, lower the head, lower the heel. Interlace your hands under the left knee. Keep the knee bent and drive your left heel forward away from you. Couple breaths. Just get the hamstrings to warm as you drive the heel away from you and keep that left knee bent. Draw the left knee to the chest. Grab your strap. Slide it over the left foot and get into the hamstrings. Supta Padangusthasana. Your reclined big toe pose. Keep the legs neutral, so hug the inner thighs towards one another. Feel that left femur bone pressing to the back of the hip socket. So try to take your left buttock and can you direct it, lengthen it towards the right foot. It doesn't really go anywhere. It's just the idea of moving that femur within the socket. Bend the knees, pull both knees into your chest, and then hands under the knees. If it's okay for you, rock forward and back, find your way up to seated. Okay, when you come up to seated, if it's okay for you, sit on your block in Virasana. And if it's not okay for you, then do what you need, or you can always watch. So when we move into Virasana, we have these neutral legs. But if you're like me, a lot of us, when we move into this, our feet sickle out to the side. And feel free to look at me if you're unsure what that means. So my heels, my inner arches, are not hugging into the block. They're sort of sickling out to the sides. And this, if I was in, say, Cobra, this would mean that I would be externally rotating and feel this in my lower back. So in Virasana, see if you can hug those inner ankles in towards the block. And you might even take a moment and look at your front thighs as the heels roll out, and then hug the thighs in and notice as the heels come into the block, what does that change in the legs? So just do that a couple of times on your own, or observe if that's not for you or your knees. But just really try to find neutral in the legs. Hug those ankles into the block. And for me, it's a lot of work. So hugging those ankles into the block definitely feels like it's work here. All right, nice job, everyone. Okay, so from our Virasana, let's just keep the block where it is and come up to hands and knees. And again, I know you may not have a block, but if you have it, just try to maybe squeeze your heels into the block and press the tops of the feet down. So just reminding our feet not to sickle in our tabletop. And then we can take an inhale, pull the chest forward, lift the navel in, keep the feet strong. Exhale, round, pull the navel in. Inhale, pull the chest forward, hug the heels into the block. Exhale and round. Just take a couple on your own, and if you don't have a block, just really try to press your feet down into the mat, press your shins down, and keep your heels parallel, heel bones pointing straight up. And then eventually round all the way back to child's pose. Reach out through the fingers. Let the forehead relax and start to activate the arms as if this is down dog. And if you're on a block, or even if you're not, notice did your feet suddenly sickle off to the sides? Can you hug your heels in so it's more active in the legs? Spin your biceps up, wrap your triceps down. Go ahead and roll yourself up. You can move that prop out from underneath you, sit more comfortably. And if you have a blanket, place a blanket on top of your thighs. Just in Vajrasana, so you're just sitting on your feet. And then when you move towards your child's pose, feel yourself lift up. You can even place your hands or even hold the edges of the blanket if you have it, and pull it down on your lap as you lift up through the torso and try to lift over that belly, over that blanket as you take your forward fold in our child's pose. You might even take your knees a little wider. So spreading wide through the fingers, rooting through the palms, and then just explore. See how you can do this or not. It may or may not happen. I don't know for me either. Can you keep the blanket where it is as you come to hands and knees? Tuck your toes under. Can you keep the blanket in the lap as you slowly start to move into down dog? So it's much more of an anteverted pelvis than normal, but see if you can keep that blanket where it is in your downward facing dog. Take another breath or two. And then slowly bring your knees back down. Shift back to child's pose. And you can roll up, move the blanket out of your way. Find your way to tabletop. Tuck your right toes under on the mat. Drive back through the heel. Anchor the left shin down, and then raise your right leg up to the height of the hip. So this is a great place to work on spiraling the inner right thigh up, finding that Tadasana leg. Lift the navel in, and then the left arm is forward, thumb up like you want to give a handshake. Firm the outer left hip in. Take a couple of breaths here. Bring it back, hands and knees. Cat-cow, inhale, chest forward. Exhale, round side. Find your way to center. Tuck the left toes under. Press back through the heel. Take a moment, anchor your right shin down. Raise your left leg up. Spin up from the inner thigh to keep the pelvis neutral. So don't let the glute max take over and externally rotate the lifted leg. Reach the right arm forward, thumb up like you want to give a handshake. Pubic bone to navel. It may drop the back foot a little bit, that's fine. And release. Hands and knees. Cat-cow. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, round spine. Gaze up, tuck the toes under. Lift the hips up and back. Back to your downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. Settle into your pose a moment. Downward facing dog. Hands are shoulder width apart, feet are hip width apart. Wrist creases parallel to the front of the mat. Line your heels up behind your second toes. Shift forward into plank, top of your push-up. Walk the feet back if you're not long enough. And as you're tucking under on the toes, drive back through the heels. Now for me, I notice this quite a bit, and maybe you do too, and I have kind of a mirror here so I can see as well. A lot of times one of my feet in this pose wants to sickle off to the side. It doesn't feel sort of as planted as the other foot. So look at your feet, tuck the toes under, drive the heels straight back like you're pushing into a wall, and just see, do the feet feel even here? And then pull the chest forward as you continue to press back through the heels. Inner thighs are up, tailbone draws back. Shift forward on toes or knees, lower slowly to the floor. Elbows hug the body the whole way down. When you arrive, point your toes back. Press the tops of the feet into the mat and feel that you're not sickling up the heels. Hands under elbows, low cobra. Inhale, lift the heart, elbows in. And release. Press into the tops of the feet. Inhale, lift the heart, reach the tailbone back, and lower. Inhale, press up, find cobra or root into the feet, up dog. Remember to spin the inner thighs up, lift the chest, keep a little bit of a chin lock. Downward facing dog. Take your right leg and lift it up behind you halfway. Inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. Lift the knee high to the chest. Inhale the leg back. Exhale, knee to the left arm. Inhale back. Exhale, knee to nose. Step the foot next to the right thumb tip. Pull your chest forward. Really drive out through the back heel, the same as we just did in plank. And then you can sweep the left arm forward, thumb up like you want to give a handshake. And depending on how you're feeling, you might float up the second hand, reaching them forward, but stay low here. And bring your hands to the floor or blocks, drop the back knee down, hinge the hips back, pick up the front toes, Ardha Hanumanasana, half forward splits. So from here, dig your heel into the mat and isometrically drag the front heel back as you pull your chest forward. Shift forward, step to plank, top of your push-up, pause, and then from the hips, lift up and back, down dog. Take the left leg, lift it to the height of the hip, inhale. Exhale, knee to nose, lift the knee high. Inhale the leg back. Exhale, the knee crosses to the right arm. Inhale the leg back. Exhale, knee to nose, step the foot next to the left thumb tip, stack knee over ankle. Pull your chest forward, drive back through the right heel. Belly in, maybe the right arm floats forward, stay low, thumb up. Maybe join that other hand like you're holding a block in front of you. Reach the hands forward as you press back through the heel. Hands are down. Drop the back knee down, pat it if you need. Hinge back, bring the front toes up. Keep a little bend in the front knee. Dig the front heel into the mat and drag it back isometrically as you pull your chest forward. Shift forward. Step to plank. As if someone is lifting you from your hips, lift up and back. Downward facing dog. Feet together. Come high to your toes. Bend your knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Come up halfway. Lean the weight forward out of your heels, look down slightly, and fold. Root to rise, reach the arms to the sky, palms press, navel in and up, and exhale, hands to heart. Okay, Surya Namaskar A, Sun Salute A. So release the arms down, top of the mat, take an inhale, sweep the arms high, palms press. Exhale, forward fold, soften the knees on the way down. Inhale up halfway, chest forward. Exhale, step to plank, top of your push-up. Tip forward, lower halfway chaturanga, hold 2 breaths. 1, 2, lower down. Inhale, cobra, or upward facing dog. Press into the feet. You might even look back to make sure that you're not sickling the feet in this pose. Shoulders back, navel in, slight drop the chin. Down dog. 5 breaths. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Hands are shoulder width apart, feet are hip width apart. Actively lift the kneecaps to engage the thighs. And actively spin the triceps back as you root through the inner palms. Inhale, high to the toes. Exhale, bend your knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Root to rise. Inhale, the arms reach to the sky, palms press, navel in and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Round 2, Surya A. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, either jump chaturanga or step plank and lower. Inhale as your back bend. Exhale, down dog. 5 breaths. High to your toes. Bend your knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Root to rise. Inhale, the arms reach to the sky. Palms press, navel in and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay, 3 rounds, Surya Namaskar A on your own. We meet in your 3rd down dog. Talk yourself through it so you can practice your Surya Namaskar A. Two more rounds. We'll meet in your next down dog. All right. From down dog, walk your hands back towards your heels, forward fold. Feel your frontal hip bones fold against your thigh bones, and if you need, bend your knees more to get there. And then Padahastasana, stand on the hands or flip your hands over next to your feet. You're trying to take the entire hand under the foot, get the toes right at the wrist crease, let the head go, and you can massage the wrists by just scrunching the toes. Lean a little forward. Now notice there's a lot of these poses I'm going to say to bend the knees, but by the end of practice, hopefully we have this with straight legs. All right, take the hands out from the feet, heel toe the feet together, bend your knees, drop your seat, find chair pose, slowly rise, release the arms by the sides. Okay, how are we doing? So far this is pretty basic. So we'll move now into our external standing series. Even though our peak is more neutral, we've got to warm up the outer hips first. So we can start where we are, feet together, hands at your hips, and just pick up your right knee. Kind of like Ekapada Apanasana. You're going to firm the standing hip in. Keep your hands on your hips so you're keeping that Tadasana pelvis nice and neutral. And then open your right knee to the right and plant the foot for tree pose, Vrikshasana. So re-level your pelvis. Lift the frontal hip bones. Even here, you can work on your peak pose. Firm the standing hip in. And then take the arms out right in front of you, thumbs up like you're holding a block. And go slow, reaching the arms up, but keeping the core engaged. The front ribs drawing down, the pelvis lifting up. Bring your knee to center and release the leg, release the hands. Hands on your hips, back of the mat. Start to bend your left knee, bring it up, just like Ekapada Apanasana on the back. Hug the standing hip in, and then go slow. Open up the left knee. We're tempted often to open that knee too much, but let's keep the pelvis square. Hug that right hip in. Wrap the left buttock underneath. Frontal hip bones lift. Lower ribs draw down. Arms in front of you like you're holding a block, thumbs up. And then try to keep your core engaged as you reach the arms up. Bring the knee to center and lower. Feet together, back of the mat. Inhale, sit into chair, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Feet hip width, walk forward, down dog. Inhale, the right leg lifts, height of the hip. Exhale, step the foot to the center of the hands, right in the middle. Anchor the back heel down, lining up front heel with back arch. And then come on up, warrior two. Sink into your lunge. Give yourself a few moments here.
So even though we're moving into an external series, we can still focus on the neutral back leg if we want. So we can talk about pressing the femur back, maybe spreading the toes, lifting the arches, and definitely the pubic bone lifting towards the navel. Couple of breaths here. Straighten up the right leg, hands on your hips, maybe shorten your stance. Let the right hip shift back. So this is another one of those, let the pelvis fold over the femur bone. Keep a micro bend in your right knee and reach the right arm forward, setting up a triangle pose. Now if you have a block, you can place your hand on the block behind the leg. If you hyperextend like I do and you have a block, you might instead think about putting that block under the calf and pressing into it. You can lightly press your hand into the shin. That way you're not locking out the leg. Pubic bone to navel. Lengthen the side waist. Pubic bone to sternum, sternum to crown. Top arm high if you'd like. Maybe you rotate the palm and extend it over. Top hand on your hip. Bend your front knee. If you have that block, you can use it. Look ahead of the pinky toe about a foot and step that block up, Ardha Chandrasana. So look at the right foot, the standing foot. Have the toes face the front of the mat. Engage the right glutes. Your standing leg is still an external, but this top leg is neutral. So spin the inner thigh back. Open the heart to the side walls, top arm high. Press through that back foot, dorsiflex, pull the toes towards the head. Breathe. Step back, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale to the floor. Step to plank. Choose a vinyasa, a set of push-ups, or go right to down dog. Inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, step it to the center of the hands. Anchor the back heel down. Come on up, warrior two. Take a moment to set up your pose. This left leg is our external leg, so feel that left buttock wrapping underneath. The right leg, the back leg is our Tadasana leg. And even here, we can pull the front ribs in and really use the core. Straighten the left leg. Bent knee before straight leg. So we did our warrior two. Now we straighten our leg, shorten our stance a little bit. Hinge from the hips. Feel the pelvis tilting over the thigh bone. You have your block, you can use it for triangle pose, either under your hand or maybe under your calf at an angle. Absorb the side ribs in. Pull the front ribs to the spine. And maybe the right arm extends over the ear. Top hand on your hip. Look down, bend your knee. Left hand on the block or floor outside the pinky toe. Step the left hand up about a foot. Hug that left buttocks in and spin the right inner thigh back. This top leg is neutral, it's Tadasana. Flex the toes, maybe top arm high. Never stack the hips here. Step back, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale to the floor. Step to plank, your choice. choose a vinyasa, a set of push-ups, or go right to down dog. And then find your way to your knees and rest, child's pose. Okay, how are we doing? Everyone's good? Any questions so far? Okay, so we're moving now. So we did, you know, a lot of that stuff, I feel like you kind of already know where I'm going. We're doing a lot of that same stuff. So now we're going to start to move towards the meat of our practice, moving more into our neutrals. So take a wide stance. I could get here a lot of different ways, but for now, we're just going to go ahead and turn to face the side and bring the legs wide into Prasarita Padottanasana. So hands on hips. For a moment, bring your legs back together into Tadasana. I've done this before, but reminders are always nice. So bring your big toes to touch. Sliver of space between your heels. Not so much, but just enough that you feel the outside edges of the feet are parallel. And earlier we were talking a little bit about the Pilates feet. So just to explore for you, bring your heels together and your toes out and just see if that changes anything for you. And what changes for me, or what I might feel, you might feel, is your lower back. Maybe just a little bit of a question mark. You might just notice it. But also we're sort of opening and puffing the groins. So now take the big toes together, spin the inner thighs back, and you may notice a little more deepening of the groins, and then lifting the navel, which part of what that is we're taking the femur bones, pressing them straight back in the sockets, right? Versus puffing out and overstretching the ligaments on the front of the thighs. So finding your Tadasana legs, hands on your hips, and then keep your Tadasana legs, but just take your legs out wide about 4 feet. And everyone's a little bit different, but again, toes will be turned in just a little bit. Hug the outer ankles in. Feel how that firms the outer hips. Hands on hips. Lift your chest, inhale. Exhale, soften the knees so that the pelvis will roll over the femur bones. Place your hands on the floor or blocks in front of you. Come up halfway and just be here preparing for your Prasarita, but just having a torso's distance between your feet and your hands. So your hands are not between your legs, but more out in front of you. Keep the legs strong. Try to really lift up through the kneecaps, engaging the quads. Couple of breaths. Muscles work in pairs, and muscles only shorten, they only contract. So can you work on shortening the front thighs, the quadriceps, in order to help the hamstrings release and soften? Couple more breaths here. Keep the legs strong. Hug the adductors, the inner thighs, to the center as you begin to lower into Prasarita Padottanasana A. So allowing your head to lower towards the floor, shoulders lifting up the back, hands are under the elbows and between the feet. Gaze up, pull your chest forward, hands on your hips, elbows to the sky. Lead with your heart, come all the way to stand. Okay, step your feet back in for a moment. Work out your ankles. Okay, number 2, take your feet back wide. You kind of know where we're going, so just get this idea of how to set up the feet. Lift your chest, find your breath. We're going to take our peace fingers, our index finger and our middle finger, for a toe lock. So lift your chest, inhale. Exhale, fold. Keep your hands on your hips a moment. Look up, hug the outer ankles in, hug the outer hips in. Maybe take your peace fingers, wrap around your big toes. Padangusthasana. Then pull your chest forward. Stamp your toes down into your hands. Hug the inner thighs, elbows wide as you lower into Prasarita Padottanasana D, I believe. Breathe. bring yourself up halfway. Hands to your hips, lead with your heart, come all the way to stand. Okay, step your feet in, work out your ankles. And then one more. Step the feet wide, interlace the hands, or grab your strap. If your shoulders are tight, you can use your strap. Okay, so from here, roll the shoulder heads back, hug the outer ankles in, lift your chest, inhale. Exhale, forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana C. Lead with your heart, come all the way up. Okay, so release your strap, release your hands. Move yourself back to the top of your mat. And we did our neutral standing pose, that Prasarita Padottanasana, after our externals. And now we're moving more into the asymmetrical neutrals and moving more into our Surya Namaskar B series. So Surya B. So stand at the top of your mat, feet together, inner thighs back, pubic bone lifts to the navel. Take an inhale, sit back into chair, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, either jump, Chaturanga, or step, plank, and lower. Vinyasa, or skip it if you need. We're meeting in down dog. From down dog, the base of your exhale, step your right foot next to the right thumb tip. Pivot the back heel down and rise. Warrior one, Virabhadrasana. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step back, plank. Lower. Vinyasa, or do what you need. Down dog. Left foot steps next to the left thumb tip. Pivot the back heel down. Rise. Warrior one. Exhale the hands down. Step back plank. Vinyasa. We meet in down dog. 5 breaths here. Talk yourself through this pose. Give yourself the points. Where are the hands and the feet? What are the actions of the arms and the legs? Gaze up, bend your knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, drop your seat, chair. Slowly rise. Release the arms by your sides. And then hands on your hips. Go ahead and step your left leg back. Keep it on its track, and we'll say about 3 feet, 3.5 feet. So try to square your frontal hip bones forward. Press into the mound of the big right toe. Lift your chest, inhale. Exhale, hinge. Feel your pelvis tilt over your thigh bones. And then place your hands either on the floor, blocks, outside of the front foot, or if there's no props, on your shin. Press your shin into your hands. Just take a couple of breaths here. All right. So we're in Parsvottanasana. I have us on props because this is more similar to where we're going later. Hold the chest forward. And then gaze forward. Bend your front knee. Move your props forward and pick up the back leg to hip height. Now work the back leg. Spin the inner thigh up. So if you look back, your toes are facing straight down. Pull the chest forward. So if we're overactive in the glute max, the toes are going to turn to the side. So we need to lift from the adductors, the inner thighs, to get the pelvis level. Pull the chest forward, pop onto the finger pads. Can you take the right arm and reach it forward, thumb up? Maybe, and I don't know if I can do it today, can you reach both hands forward? Breathe. Okay, we'll take one more breath. Hands on your props. Left knee to your chest. Set the foot on the floor next to the right. Bend your knees, drop your seat. Chair, slowly rise. Arms by the sides. The feet are hip width. Step your right foot back, setting up for Parsvottanasana. Square the hips forward. Lift your chest, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Hands on props, frame your front foot, or hands on shin if there is no props. Pull your chest forward. Give yourself a few breaths here. Bend your left knee. Move your blocks or hands forward about a foot. Pick up the back leg. Level the back. Pull your chest forward. Pop onto the finger pads. You can stay here or reach one or both hands forward. Warrior three. It's a more challenging way to get into it. But part of the reason is because our hamstrings are so tight. Hands back to the blocks if they were there. Right knee to your chest. Set the foot on the floor next to the left. Gaze up, pull your chest forward, heel toe your feet, hip width apart. You're gonna take your index finger, your middle finger, your peace signs, grab your big toes again, lift your chest, inhale, exhale, fold, elbows wide. This time, as long as it's okay for your hamstrings, really lift up through your kneecaps. Padangusthasana. Look up halfway, hands to your hips, lead with your heart, and come all the way up to stand. Okay, how are we doing? So we're gonna do our peak pose, Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. We'll do it twice. So once I'll do with you, second time I'll watch. So if you have a strap or prop, grab it. If you can toe lock, great, but just take care of you. And you're gonna stand and just lift the right knee and slide the prop over the right foot. And then try to have it be like it was earlier when we were moving into tree pose for Vrikshasana. We wanted to keep the pelvis level. And then straighten the right leg out. Sit tall through the spine. Hug the inner thighs together. Find your breath. If you feel like you want to explore, you can release the strap or the toe lock. Just take the hands straight up. Whew, and release. Okay, side two, and then we'll do it again and I'll watch. So strap over the left foot. Go ahead and take that foot out in front of you. Try to keep it neutral, so spiral the inner thigh down. Hug the inner thighs together. Lift the chest. When and if you're ready, release the hands, take them straight up. Breathe. And release. Find a wall. Take our hands to the wall, if you have one. Step into puppy dog, so finding down dog with your palms pressing into the wall. And then bring yourself up, hands on hips. So what we'll do in a moment is we will sit in Dandasana against the wall. We've done this a lot. I'm glad we kind of did this a lot in practice before we went more virtual. But we'll place our hands down, shoulders against the wall, sit up tall. If I was really staying here, I'd take my clip out. I'm not moving the feet to meet. I'm going to move to my feet. Take this forward fold, place my hands next to my feet. I kind of made it a little short, so we'll see. And I'm going to take the heels right at the wall and down dog. Now, for whatever reason, my wall feels really slippery, so I'm going to see how this goes. I'm going to take one foot at hip height, press into it, add the other foot. And most likely, and I have a side view of a mirror, my back is pretty hyperextended. So I'm going to push into my feet, push into my palms, and try to pull the front ribs in. That looks a little better. And then I'm going to raise the leg up and keep the toes pointing towards the wall versus them off to the sides or too much of a back bend. So this I feel in my back and my hamstrings. So I'm going to think about those first poses. And I'm going to move so that the toes face the wall, the front ribs move in, and I'm really pressing into the palms. And then we'll come down and enjoy a child's pose. Now, if you have wrist sensitivities, you don't have a wall that you trust, you're on the first few days of your cycle, you just don't want to do it, then you can watch. Just take a moment to rest. Bend your knees. If you have room, use the wall, otherwise you can hinge back. And you're just going to drop the knees to the left into a nice, simple spinal twist. And then knees through center and over to the right. Come through center. Set your feet down onto the floor. So if you're close to the wall, you'll have to shimmy back. We're preparing for bridge pose. So keep your feet at inner hip width. Take your arms by your sides. You can root down through the pinky fingers, press down through the sides of the arms, and then slowly lift your hips into bridge. You can hold the edges of the mat or interlace the hands underneath you. But feel that there is a nice natural pocket of space underneath your neck. And then separate the hands, lower the spine down. Take a moment to pause. And one more time, lift into your bridge. Lower the spine down. Take a moment here, windshield wiper the knees. And pull the knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice hug. You can roll over to your right side. And either keep your mat where it is or bring it back. We're going to move into our final poses, our seated forward folds. If you have a blanket, grab a blanket. And take a moment just to sit in Dandasana. And notice if you have that posterior tilt or not. Or if it's easy for you to sit tall, and you might already know the answer, just kind of because of all the poses that we did already. But notice when you sit here, do you feel like you are leaning back, or are you able to really sit tall? And you may have to bend the knees, or it's nice to sit just at the edge of a blanket. Great. So as you're sitting at the edge of a blanket, let the pelvis tilt forward into that anteversion, that interior tilt. Hands by your sides, sit tall in Dandasana, just like we did at the wall. And here you'll notice your natural tendencies too. Do you have a really big sway in the lower back? Maybe try to lift the navel in a little bit. Bend your right knee. You can have your heel at your sit bone, so there's about a fist distance between the limbs. Sit up tall, inhale. Reach the right arm overhead, revolve to the right, fingertips to the floor behind you. The left arm can wrap around the front. You can cross, but sometimes people crank, so I like to hug that arm in. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, navel in and revolve. Inhale, tall. Exhale, revolve. Slowly unwind. Reach your right leg forward, bend your left knee. Again, have about a fist distance between the limbs. Sit up tall. Reach the arm high. Open. Place the fingertips on the floor behind you. Sit tall. Maybe wrap the arm around the knee. Lengthen, inhale, exhale, belly in and twist. Gradually unwind. Let the left knee fall open. Take your arms up, inhale, lengthen, exhale, revolve slightly to the right and fold. Reach for the front leg or floor. Chest pulls forward. And then begin to fold into your pose. Lead with your heart, come up. Bend your right knee, straighten your left leg. Reach the arms up, revolve a little left and fold. Grow tall, find length in the spine and fold in. Lead with your heart, come up. Bend both knees, Janu Shirsasana, or Baddha Konasana. So holding onto the feet, sit tall, inhale, exhale, fold. Find your way to center. Split the legs out to the sides. Upavishta Konasana. And check out the feet. We want the toes to be facing straight up. It's a nice neutral pose. So they're not back, they're not forward, they're just right. Hinge from the hips, same work we've been doing, and you can move into your forward fold here. If you were very flexible in this pose and you happen to have props, you would place one block flat right at the pubic bone and then one block maybe under the forehead. And this would help to keep the sit bones rooted. Lead with your heart, come up, take our last two poses. So let's go ahead and cross in Sukhasana, so cross middle of the shins. If you feel like doing double pigeon or thread the needle, that's fine. Just to kind of give us a different rotation for the hips before we take our final pose. You can sit or fold. Come up, switch, take the other side. Left shin or second side in front, forward fold. Lead with your heart, come up. We're gonna take our finishing pose. So before we move into Paschimottanasana, take the legs forward and just relax. And most likely your feet sort of flop out to the side. It's that sickling again, it's that external rotation. So we're really trying to find, we've done the work now, so hopefully our hamstrings are ready. So notice if the feet fall out to the side, see if you can bring them together. Bring the big toes to touch. Push the inside of the foot forward, really pull the outer edge of the pinky toes back. And even by doing that, I already feel this engagement in my thighs. You can imagine that you have a blanket on your thigh bones. If you have one, you can press it down, lift up, reach the arms up, soften the knees, and fold over that blanket, real or imaginary blanket. Hold the outside edges of the feet if you have them, or use a strap. Pull the pinky toes sides towards you. Lead with the chest, find your breath. And some of you may continue to fold, relaxing all the way into your pose. Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold, or west side stretch. Lead with your heart. Come on up. Bend your knees. Come to your back. Let's finish with happy baby. Rock a little side to side. Maybe toe lock and split the legs, just depending on how you feel. And then start to find your way into Shavasana. You find Shavasana, let the whole body just rest and surrender. Feel the imprints of the practice on the body, physical, mental, emotional. And I'll be here just a minute, not long, just allowing the body to settle.
Start to move your fingers and toes. Take an inhale, reach the arms overhead, maybe yawn. Bend your knees, roll to your right side. And press yourself up to seated. You find your way up to seated, draw your hands to your heart in gratitude. Lift your chest, bow your head. Namaste.